In the early morning hours of August 15, 2025, the Russian cargo vessel Port Olya-4 eased away from its berth at the Caspian port of Olya in Russia's Astrakhan region. On the surface, it was just another routine voyage across one of Russia's safest waterways. Ukrainian intelligence later confirmed the cargo included Iranian ship Shahed drone parts and ammunition, lifeblood for Russia's long-range strike campaign. To Moscow, the trip looked untouchable. After all, who would dare strike a ship sailing hundreds of kilometers inside Russian territory in a closed sea bordered only by allies or neutrals? Well, Ukraine had other plans. Unbeknownst to the crew, hundreds of miles away, operators were already tracking the vessel's slow progress across the Caspian. Above the water, a Ukrainian long-range strike drone was slicing through the night sky at low altitude. Radar cross-section minimal, engines tuned for silence. This wasn't a probing strike, it was a message. The drone wasn't after soldiers or bases. It was targeting Russia's confidence, its assumption that the Caspian Sea was off limits. For years, the Caspian had been portrayed by Moscow as an inner sanctuary, beyond the reach of Western weapons and Ukrainian ingenuity. The logic was simple. It's landlocked, far from the front lines, and heavily monitored by Russian air defenses. But at 4:17 that morning, that theory collapsed. Minutes later, flames would be licking across the deck of the Port Olya-4, black smoke curling into the dawn sky. For the Russian Navy, this was no minor embarrassment. This was a wake-up call. If Ukraine could hit here, deep inside the Caspian, well then, nowhere was safe. At 4:25, just 8 minutes after the Port Olya slipped out of its berth, Ukrainian operators gave the command. Somewhere, far beyond the Caspian basin, a long-range strike drone, its path carefully pre-programmed, descended to treetop level, hugging terrain and waves to stay below radar. The drone had already crossed hundreds of kilometers of Russian airspace undetected. Now, it locked on to its final approach. The drone skimmed just meters above the surface, radar signature barely more than a bird. Russia's vaunted inland air defenses, optimized for high-altitude threats, were blind to it. Operators in Astrakhan had their scopes pointed outward, watching for ballistic arcs or high-flying jets, not a low-speed intruder dragging a small but lethal warhead. When the strike came, it was mercilessly precise. The drone slammed into the starboard side of the vessel just forward of the superstructure. The warhead detonated inside the cargo hold, where wooden crates packed with Iranian-supplied drone engines and munitions were stacked floor to ceiling. The result was catastrophic. By 4:35 that morning, the vessel was burning from bow to stern. Black smoke and orange flames turned the pre-dawn horizon into a floating inferno. Attempts to call for help were frantic but confused. Russian port authorities at first refused to believe what they were hearing. Ukrainian drone? Here? In the Caspian? Impossible! Well, it was very possible. The attack on the Port Olya-4 didn't happen in a vacuum. To understand why Ukraine would risk striking so deep inside Russian territory, you need to understand the Caspian Sea and why Moscow considered it untouchable. On a map, the Caspian looks like an oversized lake, locked away from the world. No connection to NATO waters, no Ukrainian shoreline, just 5 states border it: Russia, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Iran, and Azerbaijan. For Moscow, that meant friendly or neutral waters. That illusion gave the sea outsized importance. Astrakhan and the nearby Port Olya became vital logistics hubs. Port Olya-4 wasn't just moving cargo, it was moving future strikes. Each engine in its hold represented a Shahed that could dive into a Ukrainian power plant. Each circuit board meant another night of air sirens in Kyiv. To Ukraine intelligence services, targeting such a vessel was not symbolic, it was a direct hit on Russia's supply chain of terror. The geography reinforced Moscow's complacency. Unlike the Black Sea, where Ukrainian sea drones and Western surveillance give Kyiv room to maneuver, the Caspian was thought to be out of reach. Russian commanders didn't waste resources on convoys or layered escorts here. Why would they? From their perspective, the Caspian was like a private lake. That's why the strike mattered so much. It shattered not only a ship, but also a doctrine. The idea that distance and geography could guarantee safety was proven false. If a Ukrainian drone could navigate hundreds of kilometers to blast a cargo ship in Russia's own inland sea, then no port, no refinery, and no logistics hub was beyond reach. For Kyiv, it was a message. Sanctuaries don't exist. For Moscow, it was a nightmare. The strike on Port Olya-4 hit harder than any warhead. It struck Russian pride. Within hours, Russian state media scrambled to control the narrative. First reports were vague. A fire aboard a civilian vessel in Astrakhan Oblast, under investigation, no threat to navigation. Officials downplayed the incident, avoiding any mention of drones or sabotage. But in the age of satellite imagery and instant sharing, that kind of spin doesn't last long. By the next morning, Ukrainian intelligence released overhead images showing the crippled ship lying half submerged at its berth, smoke stains streaking the deck, and a slick of fuel spreading on the water. Independent satellite providers confirmed the same. The evidence was undeniable. This was not an accident. The vessel had been struck, and struck hard. The Russian Ministry of Defense maintained silence, refusing to comment. Instead, pro-Kremlin outlets floated alternative explanations. Faulty wiring, an engine room fire, even the idea of crew negligence. International observers quickly picked up the story. Western analysts highlighted the technical leap Ukraine had just demonstrated. Striking in the Caspian wasn't simply a one-off stunt. It proved that Kyiv could build or adapt drones capable of flying extraordinary distances, navigating deep into enemy airspace, and hitting with surgical accuracy. If Ukraine could reach Olya, what was stopping them from targeting refineries, shipyards, or even naval bases further along the Caspian? For Russia's navy, the implications were chilling. The Caspian Flotilla had always been a secondary force, useful for launching cruise missiles during earlier phases of the war, but otherwise considered secure. Now, every ship at anchor, every cargo waiting at dockside was a potential target. Suddenly, resources would have to be diverted. Air defense batteries shifted, patrol routes extended, escorts assigned to supply vessels. Logistics became more complex overnight. The political reverberations spread beyond Moscow. Tehran was also watching closely. Iran's strategy of quietly feeding Russia with drones relied on the Caspian route being secure. If Ukraine could cut off that lifeline or even threaten it, Iran's leverage in the conflict would diminish. Reports circulated that Iranian advisors were urging Russia to harden port defenses, fearing further strikes that might sink ships before their cargo ever reached Russian soil. Meanwhile, Ukraine's leadership seized the moment. Officials openly hinted that no Russian port is beyond our reach. It was psychological warfare as much as it was physical, forcing Russian commanders to rethink what rear area really meant. Kyiv's message was blunt: distance does not equal safety. The strike also served another purpose. It emboldened Ukraine's allies. For months, questions had swirled in Western capitals about whether support was making a tangible difference on the battlefield. The smoking hull of Port Olya-4 was proof that Ukraine could innovate, adapt, and strike asymmetrically, even without a large navy or long-range missile stockpiles. A drone, built in workshops and guided by clever operators, had just punched through one of Russia's supposed safe zones. The consequences were clear. Russia's logistics chain had just been bloodied, its myth of sanctuary shattered. Ukraine, with one audacious strike, had redrawn the map of vulnerability. This wasn't just about one ship. It was about rewriting the rules of the war. Geography had always been Russia's ally. Distance, depth, and layered defenses gave Moscow confidence that some areas were beyond Ukraine's reach. Now, that assumption is gone. Commanders have to plan as if every ship, every refinery, every logistic hub, even in the heart of Russia, is on the target list. For Kyiv, the message is clear: we can reach you anywhere. That's a powerful deterrent and a morale boost for a nation fighting against overwhelming odds. For Moscow, it's a headache that multiplies with every kilometer of coastline and every ship sailing in safe waters. The Port Olya-4 thought it was safe. It wasn't. It challenged Ukraine and paid the price. What do you think? If Ukraine can hit into the Caspian Sea, where might they go next? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'll be reading. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more frontline stories, and share this video with someone who still thinks that Russia has safe zones. And hey, if you want to go a step further and support the channel directly, join the fleet. You get loyalty badges, priority responses, and you help us bring more true maritime stories to the surface. Click join on our channel page and get on board. And remember, the next time that someone tells you that the Caspian Sea is a safe backyard for Russia, just ask them, safe for who? I'll see you in the next one.